Over 2,000 years ago, in the Han Dynasty, one of the most powerful empires in Chinese history, ruled the absolute monarch, Emperor Wu. His palace was a fierce arena of ambition, where the most brilliant minds of the realm gathered to prove their wisdom and talent. Yet, among them stood one man who was a complete enigma, an unpredictable and eccentric figure whom no one could quite figure out. His name was Dongfang Shuo. The way Dongfang Shuo first announced himself to the world was anything but ordinary. He submitted a memorial to the emperor written on 3,000 bamboo slips. The collection was so vast and heavy that it took 2 strong men to haul it before the throne. Emperor Wu spent 2 full months reading through his work and, astonished by its depth and breadth, immediately granted him a position at court. Once appointed, however, Dongfang Shuo behaved less like a scholar and more like a court jester. He acted with the flair of a carefree clown. When the emperor gifted him leftovers from a banquet, he would shamelessly stuff the food into his robes, leaving them perpetually reeking of fish. When granted expensive silks, he would sling them carelessly over his shoulder and head home. He squandered all the wealth he earned on beautiful women, moving from one to the next each year as soon as he grew bored. Everyone in the palace pointed their fingers at him, mocking him as a madman. But Emperor Wu would rebuke his other ministers. "None of you," the emperor said, "can even touch the hem of Dongfang Shuo's robes. Despite his appearance, he is a man who flawlessly accomplishes any task he is given." One day, another official, unable to bear it any longer, confronted Dongfang Shuo directly. "Sir," he asked, "why do you debase yourself so? Everyone in the palace says that you have lost your mind." Dongfang Shuo simply let out a hearty laugh. "Yes," he replied, "I am that very madman." Seeing the official's confusion, he continued, "The sages of old fled to the deep mountains to escape the secular world. I, however, choose to become a madman to remain here in the palace, by refusing to be bound by worldly honor or reputation. The worries and sorrows of the world pass me by. To you, this place may be a den of anxiety, but because the secular world no longer exists in my heart, this very palace is no different from a mountain sanctuary where an immortal roams." Sometimes, when drunk, he would sit on the ground and sing a song he had written. "Must one flee to deep mountains to escape the world? I steep myself in the world, hiding within the golden horse gate, for inside the palace is the finest place for an immortal to live." His bizarre behavior was his personal ark, built to navigate the turbulent waves of the secular world. His extraordinary brilliance finally shone through when a bizarre incident occurred at the palace. One day, a mysterious animal appeared. It looked like a large deer, but had only a single horn. Even the empire's greatest scholars could not identify the creature. Emperor Wu summoned Dongfang Shuo. Calmly, Dongfang Shuo said, "Your Majesty, I know the name of this animal. However, I will tell you only after you have served me the finest wine and food." It was an absurd demand, but the emperor, trusting his ability, readily ordered a feast. After eating and drinking his fill, Dongfang Shuo finally spoke. "That," he declared, "is an auspicious beast known as a zuia. Its appearance is a sign that, before long, people from a distant land will come to surrender to us in great numbers." Everyone was skeptical, but exactly 1 year later, his prophecy came true. A Xiongnu king from the northern plains surrendered to the Han Dynasty with 100,000 of his people. Only then did everyone once again realize the astonishing wisdom hidden beneath his playful and eccentric exterior. Dongfang Shuo lived his entire life with humor and eccentricity. But as he grew old and lay on his deathbed, he changed. He appeared before Emperor Wu, impeccably dressed, and with a serious expression he had never shown before, to offer his final piece of advice. "Your Majesty," he said, "the Book of Odes contains a line. The buzzing flies land upon the fence, O virtuous lord. Do not believe the words of slanderers. I beg you to distance yourself from flatterers, and reject those who speak ill of others. In doing so, you will protect the foundation of our nation." Emperor Wu was deeply moved by this sincere counsel from a man who had only ever seemed to jest. Soon after, Dongfang Shuo passed away. It was only then that people understood the meaning of his final words and his life. His lifelong act as a madman had been his unique way of preserving his wisdom and surviving within the chaotic walls of the palace. The life of Dongfang Shuo tells us this: the world feels arduous not because of the world itself, but because our hearts are entangled within it. His life proves that by changing your perspective, you can wander as freely as a sage, even in the very heart of a turbulent world.